NHL Trade Talk. We're discussing the New York Islanders as well as Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk of the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're both unrestricted free agents, and we've seen some speculation that there might be teams trying to sign both and keep them playing together. We'll discuss that coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So I've seen some speculation that the New York Islanders might be planning some big moves for this offseason. So I wanted to discuss what their plans might be and what you guys think of the potential moves that I've been seeing speculation on. Obviously, as we know, the two biggest areas of concern for the Islanders is goaltending and defense. Obviously, another major concern is John Tavares. Will he be back, or will he have played his last game when this regular season comes to a close? Now, the reports I was reading suggest from an Islanders insider that the odds of Tavares staying are probably about 75% at this point. They still seem pretty confident that they're going to be able to get this deal done. Now, I'm not so sure about that. My gut says that the odds of him leaving are better than staying. But as we all know, the story has a lot of details to unfold. We really don't have a lot of public information. It's just speculation. So it's really hard to say if he stays or if he goes. But either way, I'm going to do this video based on the fact that he does stay. So assuming they re-sign John Tavares, they do have some other moves apparently that they're working on. Now, one of the big questions though is, will those moves be made by General Manager Garth Snow, or are we going to see a new General Manager put in place before the summer's draft and free agency kicks in? So that's a big question. So leave some comments down below. Do you think the New York Islanders should replace Garth Snow, and will they? Personally, I really think they should consider it. He's been there quite a long time, and they've yet to put a winning team in place. There's certainly some moves that look pretty good, and there's lots that seem questionable. And the fact that they've left Tavares go this long unsigned is a big concern for me. So for me, if I'm from the New York Islanders, especially where they're under reasonably new ownership, they've got a lot of things underway here, the new building and everything. I don't know, it's something they might want to consider. And I know there's a lot of frustrated fans that want to see him removed and somebody new put at the helm in New York. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you think. If it were me, I'd be all open to the Islanders hiring a new GM. But the speculation that I was reading about the Islanders suggests that they might be looking to go after some pretty big name defensemen here. And then obviously that they're going to look to free agency to find a top goalie. Now, I did a video not too long ago discussing the fact that the Washington Capitals, this was just my opinion, that the Capitals might have a goalie controversy on their hands by next season between Braden Holtby, Philip Grubauer, and the fact that they're likely signing Ilya Samsonov, who's a top Russian prospect goalie out of the KHL. So they're going to have three very capable goalies, and maybe Holtby might be on the market. So if he's on the market, I think the Islanders should be going after him. If you want to check that video out, there'll be a YouTube card up in the corner, as well as a link on the end screen at the end of this video. So check that out. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Now, the only thing is the Capitals might be unwilling to move Holtby to a rival like the Islanders, so that might put up a roadblock there. But either way, they need goaltending. There's going to be some decent goalies on the free agent market this summer. Most of them are backup roles, but have been having a lot of success. For example, Cam Ward, who really was a backup but has mostly been a starter this year in Carolina. You're going to see Carter Hutton out of St. Louis, who's had a really solid year for the Blues. There's Anton Hudobin in Boston, and there's many more. So it's been rumored that the Islanders really should go after a goalie, and I really agree with that they should. So which of these free agent goalies makes the most sense, or should they be trying to make a trade for a guy like Braden Holtby? In that video, basically what I was suggesting was that the Capitals are not going to be able to afford to re-sign John Carlson without moving up some salary. They're going to have a lot of depth at the goalie position. If they move out Holtby's $6 million plus contract, that'll help them keep Carlson in the mix in Washington. And they still have Grubauer and Samsonov to have a pretty solid goalie tandem moving forward. So, to me, it makes a lot of sense. Now, the Islanders should be a team that's jumping on that bandwagon to make that move. They do have a lot of young players and prospects and picks available that might help them facilitate that trade. So I think that's something they should go down and explore. But if they don't, or that doesn't work out, there's going to be enough goalies in the free agent market that they need to consider that as well. If I were them, I'd go after Carter Hutton. He's had an absolutely tremendous year. Now, he's a little bit older. He's into his early 30s right now. But at this point, he's not played a ton of hockey because he's mostly been a backup. And they have some good prospects like Sorokin and Soderstrom on the way. So they don't need a long-term fix. If they were able to get Carter Hutton for 2 or 3 years, that might really give them a bit of a boost while they're waiting on these other prospects to develop and get signed to the NHL contract. So let me know what you think down below. If the Islanders had a chance to trade for Holtby or looking to sign a guy perhaps like Carter Hutton, should they make that move? Because obviously they've got goaltending issues and they need to make some moves for next year. Now, as far as defensemen go, I've seen wild speculation, and I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that it's going to happen. But I've seen them suggest that they might be going after a player like Jacob Trouba, Matt Dumba, or that they'd be interested in Drew Doughty. Now, I'm not surprised they'd be interested in Doughty. I can't see that deal happening, to be honest. I don't see LA trading him. They're going to want to lock him up long-term and keep him there for sure. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to, and could a trade happen? It could. But I haven't seen any reliable speculation that the Islanders are going to be real serious about that. But I can see a guy like Trouba or Dumba being a little bit more realistic that they could try to obtain, or even Oliver Ekman-Larsson to that degree, if the Coyotes do decide to go down that road. It's been speculated before that he might be traded instead of being re-signed because he may not want to lock up long-term the Coyotes again. So obviously, those are guys that they need to consider going after. They clearly need some help on defense, and those are some names that would certainly be quite helpful. I mean, they have a lot of draft picks right now. They've got a center like Brock Nelson who could be a trade chip as well, and they have lots of other prospects that they could consider moving. They've still got Kiefer Bellows on the way. Josh Hosang has not become a full-time NHLer as of yet. They've got their other guys that are on the roster. I wouldn't think Barzal, Beauvillier, or any of those guys are going anywhere. But they have lots of other players that they could consider moving to make a deal like that happen. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Would it make sense for the Islanders to go after a fairly good-sized defenseman here like a Dumba or a Trouba? And do you think it's realistic they can make that deal happen? I do. I'm not going to say that it's definitely one of those guys. But those are the type of players they should be going after. They have the assets to do it. And if they're going to keep Tavares, they need to make a move to get their defense and goaltending improved so that he's confident that the team's heading in the right direction. Now, before we go, let's quickly talk about Maple Leafs free agents, Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk. Obviously, they're both unrestricted free agents this summer. I think it's pretty likely that they both move on from Toronto. As much as the Leafs would probably, in a way, like to keep JVR, I'm just not sure they're going to be able to afford him with all the other extensions they have to put in place with their other young kids like Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, and others as well. So, really, I think it's likely that they both leave. I don't think they're going to be too keen on keeping Bozak. I think they'll be ready to move on from him. But I've seen some speculation that those two players have always played on the same line for a long time, and they'd really like to stay playing together because they really have a lot of chemistry and they enjoy working together. So the speculation that I was reading is, could we see a team like the Montreal Canadiens, for example, who will have lots of cap space? Now, I don't think it's something they would do right away unless they know for sure that John Tavares is out of the question. Tavares is going to be a hot commodity, and if they know for sure that they're not getting Tavares, and not that Bozak's necessarily #1 center, but in the other speculation with the Habs is that they might trade Max Pacioretty. So could we see a case of them trading Pacioretty, maybe bringing in another center or defenseman because they need both, and then maybe looking to a team like Toronto and trying to get Bozak and JVR. I mean, JVR is not exactly the same kind of player as Pacioretty, but he kind of gives you the same value. You're looking at a 30-35 goal scorer. Could we see those two guys stay together? Now, not just the Habs, but even a team like for example, the Hurricanes are another team to look at, or even like the Islanders, like I just mentioned. Only if they lose Tavares would they go down that road, I think. So could we see JVR and Tyler Bozak both leave Toronto, but stay together and sign with another team like the Montreal Canadiens? They're going to have a ton of cap space, and they like playing together, and it's not it's a little bit crazy to imagine them wearing Habs jerseys, but could it happen? Let me know down in the comments what you think, and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for every fan base to enjoy. We're also on social media, so make sure you check that out. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, and those links are down below in the description. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.